And I believe that the Bible is actually telling us how to change our diet. Now, this is not a message about counting carbs and calories. That's not the kind of diet I'm talking about. But to change our spiritual input to where we begin to not just not sin, because I can win that battle in spurts, the not sinning part. So can you. We can win it in spurts. I want to be transformed to where I am not in the desires that I used to be in. Let me give you the world's term versus the New Covenant term. The world talks about rehab, rehabilitation. And in rehab, you have a problem with drugs or alcohol or insert situation here. And the world will rehabilitate you. And I'm not a rehab expert. And what I'm about to say is in no way to say to those who are going through some kind of rehab that it's wrong. Please don't take it that way. I know rehab has made a big, big difference in a lot of people's lives. But I'm just trying to compare the natural realm, which is rehabilitation, with the supernatural realm, which is regeneration. There's a huge difference. Rehabilitation has as its root, rehabit you. We take a socially unacceptable habit, let's say drug addiction, socially unacceptable. We change your habit. Instead of drugs, it's work. You go from an alcoholic to a workaholic. Workaholic is an acceptable social behavior. It might cost you just as much of your family as alcoholism, but we have an acceptable amount, in America especially, where you get what you earn. It's okay to lose your family if you work 80 hours a week. It's not okay to lose your family on the bottle. I'm not advocating that. I'm saying that's the mentality that we have. In rehab, we reassociate you from one addictive behavior basically into another addictive behavior so that your new addiction doesn't offend everybody that was offended by your old addiction. It's the best man has. Sometimes it helps people in immense ways, but it isn't God's way. God had a better way, regeneration. What's regeneration? At its root, regene, not redenim you, but regene you, G-E-N-E, to change your spiritual DNA. Now, when you meet Christ, if you have black hair, you're going to have black hair when you get done. If you have blue eyes, you're going to have blue eyes when you meet Jesus. Nothing physically, DNA doesn't change, of course, but your salvation's on a spiritual level, and so your spiritual DNA begins to be renewed, begins to be restored. It literally begins to be turned over. So where your natural tendency was one thing, when you meet Jesus, your natural tendency becomes, not automatically, becomes a new thing. If any man be in Christ, he's a new creation. Actually, in the Greek, he's a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. Even though we don't see all of those things becoming new, we know they have been because we've had a change in our DNA. It's spiritually, but it's there. Now, in all of this, we could take rehab and regeneration. We could preach a whole sermon on them. In fact, I was really close to rehabilitation versus regeneration for today. The Lord led us a little deeper into some other things.